During my semester in New Zealand, I truly stepped outside of my comfort zone by hiking the Abel Tasman Coastal Track with 5 people I met abroad that I would consider lifelong friends. I had never been backpacking before Abel Tasman, which I went to only a month and a half after arriving in New Zealand. I'd spent some time living in a tent the summer before, but the concept of carrying my life on my back was something I'd never been comfortable with. From finding a store to rent a proper pack from to packing and repacking my bag so I could stumble into my boots and breakfast each morning, it wasn't the most graceful learning process. Though it was only 3 days on the trail, it was a very tiring and physically demanding 72 hours. The second day was our longest trek, covering 15 miles and filled with countless climbs and slogs along resistance-filled beaches. My friends and I were taking our last short rest of the day before we embarked on the last 5-mile stretch to our campsite for the night. We heard commotion down the beach, so we rushed over just in time to see an orca surfacing not 15 feet from where we stood. Looking around, we realized it was a pod of 6 or 7 whales, all equally close to our spot. A blanket of astonishment fell over the whole group on the beach. No one could believe what we were seeing. I'd never even been to SeaWorld, yet right in front of me was the most beautiful creature I have ever seen. After a few minutes of photo ops and elbowing each other to say how no one back home would believe this story, the orcas swam beyond our line of sight and we no longer had an excuse to not be hiking. We walked back to our packs and headed out. It was apparent in that moment that if I had gone on a getaway to Fiji instead of roughing it that weekend, I would have missed out on some truly breathtaking sights. The luck of seeing orcas, something most New Zealand natives aren't even fortunate enough to do, reinforced the fact that many of the greatest things in my life have happened as a result of leaving my comfort zone. Since returning to New York, I still find myself climbing the hills with what sometimes feels like 100 pounds on my back. But once in a while, I catch a glimpse of my own urban orca, and with it, the perseverance to keep going. Suddenly, 5 miles didn't seem so bad.